Austin, what is up? All right, what is up, guys? All right, we have Austin here, and Austin showed up. And here's the cool thing. Austin has been taking action, building his software inside Xano, which is the database that we talked about a few days ago, right? And so he's taking action, right? And so now today, Austin is to the point that he could actually share his project, and we could actually work through the project live. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. Austin, you're on it, man. We're gonna share your screen just like it's just you and me. All right, let's just. We got this, bro. I'm so excited.
Course. So, can you see my screen?
I can. Yes.
Awesome. So we're gonna go over to. Let's see. I have actually been using ChatGPT because it's just been. Anthropic's been giving me a lot of problems lately with it inside of your software.
Okay.
So I've been using GPT-4o, and so I'll show you what I got going on so far. So let's just sign up a user.
Dude, that's good. I'm gonna make sure to add the different models here today, so you can just switch them right inside there.
Yeah, because it was giving me a lot of problems where it was like I said to you yesterday, it was giving me errors.
Okay.
So there's that. So I'm going to log in, or I'm going to sign up, and this is my page right now. I have it to where it's going to the profile page, but this is if we go to dashboard.
What up, Isaac? Glad you showed up, man.
Hey, what's up, guys?
This
I'm
is
sick call.
This is the this is the software so far. So basically,
Okay.
I have it to where it is. If I click on to my name, it'll bring up my profile.
Look at this.
I click back over to the logo, and it will it has all the different types of these will be eventually apps. So the one we're working on today is the project management. Right now, I have it to where I can create a board. Let's just say my AI team, and it creates the board.
Nice.
But none of this is saved inside of the database. So
okay,
if we go over to the database, what I have so far, I created a boards database table and a task database table.
yeah.
And I created that. My only problem is getting it to where I can. So I have boards and I have tasks. Okay, is getting it to where I'm connecting everything into the software.
Awesome. All right. Well, I'm going to teach you a couple different things that are like how to connect. And then also like Xano has a really cool thing to be able to store things. You see how you have two different like data rows? You have like a group or maybe like a task, and then you have like a board.
Yeah.
Right. Well, here's what we're going to do. We're going to create something called we're going to store it as JSON.
Okay.
All right. Because here's what we could do is we could store it as JSON, which is basically like a structured data type, right? And then we could also on another page or another code, we could return that structured JSON every time. And then like that will be displayed in their account.
Okay.
So you could almost store all of their boards without having to store each one of the individual data sets. You could just store it in an entire JSON file.
Interesting. Okay.
Right. And it's really cool, especially when you have such dynamic things like what you're creating.
Yeah.
Right. Where in the future you might update it where it has to be dynamic. Well, you don't want to have to keep updating your entire database. You know what I mean? So this is a way to do it. Okay. So here's what we're going to do is we're going to create a new data type. Actually, let's see. Go to your data types. Let's check out your database again, because I think we could use one. We could use boards because boards is going to have tasks in it. Okay. So here's what we have. You have ID, which is the ID. Xano gives you an ID. Okay. So Xano is the ID. It's always like 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and it goes all the way down. Okay. So it's all systematical. All right. Then it has created at your time. So that's whenever it's created. Then you have the name, which is what you set up. And then you have user ID, which is awesome because now you connected it to that user. Absolutely fantastic, Austin. All right, now click on the plus. Now you scroll down, you see where it says JSON? Look at that, raw JSON with any structure, right? And so now you could create, if this is called boards, this would be like maybe everything inside the board. So this might be
the tasks.
Yeah, boards JSON. You might even call it boards JSON, right? Because this is going to be your entire JSON, okay?
Okay.
Okay, and then so now we have it where it's a single, or we could do that. Yep. Okay. Now scroll down. All right. API configurations. So all of this is ensure a value. Perfect. Okay. Visible. Check. Everything looks good. Now hit add column. Okay. Now you see how we have that new thing and it has that little brackets around it. That's our little JSON data. Okay. Now here's what's really cool. When you set this data type up, did you make it where it had all the CRUD at API endpoints?
I believe so.
Okay, so click on API over there on the left-hand side. We'll check. All right, and let's check where you have the boards. It might be in the boards. Let's just check there. It seems like you named it and might have put it in here. Okay, and we have the get and we have the post. Okay, so up here, do you see where it says Swagger documentation in the top right?
Yep.
All right, we're going to have that open. And then now what we're going to do is go back into the Xano. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to connect and make it. This is what I really love about Xano. Okay, so you see where it says the post board. Click on add board records. We're going to adjust this and we're going to add authentication to this, right? So you see where it says public endpoint up top?
Yeah.
Click that. All right, and then authentication enabled. User authentication. All right, and then you're going to hit save. And here's what that does. Now it's going to require authentication to be able to create boards in your software, right? So the user has to be logged in. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So now you see where it says scroll down. So we have our inputs. And then what I would do is scroll up to where it says add record, and then it says return as boards on the second one, the function stack. Click that. Not the add function, but click on the, I think it might be the return as boards. I click on there to the right. Yeah. Okay. So now you see how it says inputs? You see how it says inputs on the user ID right down there? We're not going to get the input by the user ID. Keep scrolling down just a little bit. You see how it says user ID right there?
Yep.
That needs to connect to the user ID. Well, how do we get the user ID without like the way we do it? So click down with the drop down. Boom. And then you see where it says auth up top. This, click back on it. I think it clicked off. Oh, hit reset search. Yep. Boom. All right. And now it referenced the auth, and then you could get the ID. So you see that? Boom. So now you could get the ID from the authentication. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So now if you hit save, now what's going to happen is whenever you create a board, you can hit publish. Yep. Whenever you create a board, it's going to authenticate, and then it's going to get the user ID from the authentication, and then it's going to add that record that they did that whole thing. Okay. The input is name, user ID, and boards JSON. All right. So now click on back.
Right
there, yep. And then go to the Swagger. To that Swagger. All right. And then hit refresh. And now here's the thing is we need to get your authentication token. Okay, so basically go into Xano, into that, yep, and then go back into your back right there because we're into all of them, and then go to your maybe default or authentication, yep, and then go to the Swagger documentation on this one. And then go ahead and log in with that, probably not that one. Probably, yeah, that one. Log in and retrieve. So you'll go to execute and then test it once you switch all that out. Yep. And as a heads up, you might want to update your password after this call.
I don't care.
Word. Okay. So now it has authentication. Okay. So now you see how it returns that auth token.
Yep.
Okay. So now we authenticated with your login using that. Okay. So copy that whole authentication token, which is inside the brackets, not the whole thing, just the code, the key that's in the brackets. Okay. And then copy that and then head on over to the other swagger, our other swagger. All right. And now you see where it says authorize up in the top right? Click that and then go ahead and paste your authorization. Boom. All right. And now you're authorized. Okay. And now if you go to where it says post all boards, so post board record. What
Okay.
up, Joey? All right. Now you can hit try out. All right. And now here's what's cool is you can now switch where it says name, user ID, and then board JSON. Just switch out the name and then user ID doesn't actually matter because we're really not referencing that data anymore. Okay. So you don't actually have to pass it. So just go ahead and hit execute. All right. And then go ahead and scroll down. And here's what's going to happen. If you scroll down, you see how it says there's a success, right? It actually returned the response. All right. Because it returns itself basically, right? It just returns it was stored. All right. Now go look into your Xano database. What's up, Joey? We are connecting Xano databases today, bro.
Right on. I just figured I'd pop in and see what y'all was up to.
Glad you showed up, man. All right. So do you see how it just referenced your name and then it automatically plugged in your user ID into that? Do you see that?
Yeah.
All right. And now we could actually call that into your software. You just set up the curl to make that database call. You see that? So go back into the curl and now go up, scroll up. If you see where, keep going up, you see where it says curl right there, that post call?
Yeah.
That is the curl. That's what the AI understands of what to send and how to authorize and everything like that. Okay. So now if you wanted to create a page that could add those boards, that's the first step to add. The next step is to view them, right?
Yeah.
So you could go and add them one at a time. So wherever, like copy them and then tell the AI, add this API endpoint. So when I add a board, it connects to this information, this JSON. Okay.
So what I have inside of here is it's all one page. This is all one page. These are just different things. So if I can go add a board and say Austin Powers. This is all, I mean, it looks like crap right now, but it's all in one page.
Yes. Okay.
So
here's what we'll do. Okay. So you see how you have the post and then there's what's called a patch. You see how it says edit board records? Okay. That one requires a board ID. Do you see that?
Yeah.
So now the board, if you hit try out and you pass in board ID 1 or 0, pass in board ID 0, right up top. Let's see. You see where it says board ID up at the top right there? Click that. Yep. And don't change the user ID. Change the name to, right? That's going to change it to string. Okay. So change it to string, right? Hit execute. Okay. And if you look now, if you look in your database, we might have got an error, but if we look, yeah, we might have got an error. Check out the error real fast. It says board value is less than 0. Hold on, scroll up. Right in that return call. Keep going up. Right here. So it says response is 400, error code input. Value is less than the minimum value of 1. Okay, so go and put the value of 1. All right, and then execute it. Boom. All right, now scroll down. All right, so you see how it returned the update? Okay, so now if you look inside, go inside Xano, refresh. All right. So it did two things. It updated your name and it removed your user ID. Did you see that?
Yeah.
So we need to actually make the edit authentication actually have authentication so it doesn't ever change your user ID. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So now go back into your API call right there. I mean, into Xano, I'm sorry, in Xano and then APIs. And then click on your boards. And what we're going to do is that was your patch edit, right? So patch means edit. Okay. So you see where it says patch down there?
Yep.
Click on it. This allows us to update that functionality of the patch. Now, here's the thing is, do we actually want to update the user ID of who created it ever?
No.
Probably not. So if we go to the function stack where it says edit records, right? And then scroll down. This is the inputs and this is what's getting changed. Okay, we actually, if you click, like highlight the user ID, I think there should be an eyeball on the left-hand side. There should be an eyeball that pops up on the left-hand side right there. Yeah, right there. Click that little eyeball, right? That hides it. So now it's not going to update it. And are we ever really, I mean, we might want to update the name. Okay, so I'm going to say keep the name and keep the board JSON. Okay, and now hit save. All right. And now here's what's going to happen. It's never going to update that user ID for us. Okay. We just made it where it's going to not update that field. Okay. Because we never want to. All it's going to update is the name if we want to change the name and all the JSON, which is going to have all our tasks and all that cool stuff in it. Right.
Okay.
So now if we go back into the, let's see. So here's what we could do is go into the, okay, so I kind of heard what you said. You have all of this coded into one little software, like probably one page. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. So my only recommendation, if you do have all of that, as the software grows, code, like right now, AI only has like the max 8,000 token outputs as of August 22, 2024. However, in the future, it might have 150,000 token outputs, which means our code base could be extremely long. However, right now at 8,000 like token out limit, the code kind of gets constrained to like 500 to 700 lines of code. So for us, we need to learn how to build software that can be linked together without having it interconnected. Okay, so one of the ways that I was building software is you could tell your software to make it where you could iframe other HTML into your pages.
Okay.
Right? How you never leave your page, you never leave your software, and you could iframe that entire page in keeping your code base long. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And that is the way I found a workaround. Or I use it and build it in Bubble, and I almost do the exact same thing. However, if I could do everything inside my AI team and I never have to go into the other ones, you know what I mean? Like that's what I'm going to go towards. And so, so that's a way to make it where if your code base does start to get too long and you're not able to edit it based off of one prompt or a couple prompts, that's a good option.
Okay.
But do you want to connect that to your front end now?
Yes.
All right.
So let me share my screen. All right. And now let's go here.
Okay. So now we have, you could, actually, we didn't make too many changes on this, so you don't need to make a change on this. So here's what we're going to do is you just created those API endpoints. Well, that's the edit and that's the add. Okay. So now we need to actually connect those two API endpoints. So click on the patch. You see how it's a little like patch. Yep. And what we're going to do is we're going to highlight all of them because we want that execute. Remember how we just executed that curl command? We're going to highlight everything all the way down to the patch. And sometimes I'll even set up the delete and I'll set up the get all boards. You know what I mean? Like you could even set up those other ones too at the same time, but you need to make sure it does a call first. Okay. And now here's the thing is you might want, we haven't actually set up the get all boards yet. You want to make it where it gets all boards just for that user, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So now go back into your, we could do that before we do this. Okay. So go into your Xano and go into your, like go back into this into your API calls. Yep. Into the boards. And now you see how it says, query all board records.
No.
Right? You see the very top one, it's the query all.
This one, yeah.
Yep. Well, we don't want to actually query it all, right? Because that would return everybody's board. I'll get Isaac's, I'll get Joey's, and I'll get Austin's. You know what I mean? Like if for me as a user. So here's how you do it. You see how it says public API endpoint or public endpoint up top? Go ahead and add that authentication to it. Because now we're going to be able to get the user authentication. So now we can pass in, you don't want to publish it yet. We're going to still run through it. Okay. All right. So now scroll down, because we authenticated the user now, scroll down to the return as boards right there and click on that one. Yep. And what we're going to do now, you see how it says filter?
Mm-hmm.
We're actually going to add that custom. So define the second one, right? So define rules of how you want to get the records complete. Add conditional. All right. And we're going to say the value is going to be, includes conditional. So this is the where. So this is going to be the board user ID. Boom. And that little operator sign, the equal, that means it does equal it. Okay. All right. It super equals that. Like that equals it. Okay. And then now the text one. So now click on the next one. Nope. No. I mean, not that one. Just, yep, there. And then now you see what says auth. Remember, we're going to get the ID from the auth again, from the user. Bam. Now hit save. So check out what you just did. All you did is you authenticated the user, and now you're only returning boards that have that user ID.
Nice.
Pretty cool, huh? If you want to see this, right? So you see where it says run and debug. Grab your auth token that we grabbed from that other one, remember? And you're going to pass that in. And I highly recommend running and debugging 99% of the time. And now here's before you ever hit publish. Now hit run. And now here's what's thing. You see how it returns 0 results?
Yeah.
Remember how we changed when we passed in the edit, it changed it, updated that user ID?
Yeah.
Okay. Here's what we're going to do. Hit save real fast. Actually, I think it will come back to this, right? So, or just hit publish. It's fine. We're just going to hit publish real fast. And then if you go into your database, sometimes you have to make manual updates to your database. So click boards and click on your user ID for you. And you're going to be able to find you. So double click maybe, or yep. Okay. And now click off, and now go back into that API endpoint that we were just at. And we're going to run and debug again. And now hit run. Check out that.
Nice.
Right? Isn't that cool? So before you saw you had a record in your database, right? You had that record already in there. That was a board record. Well, now you got it where it's just referencing you through your authentication. So that's now your app is secure, Austin. Do you see that?
Yeah.
By adding that authentication, now nobody could get anybody else's data. You just secured everybody's data.
Awesome.
Okay. All right. Now hit perfect. That's run and debug is great. All right. Now go back into your Swagger. Yo, Swagger. All right. And now make the call from here. Not the get boards record. So hit close off on that one. We're going to do not the patch, and then query all boards, right? So hit try out, execute. All right. And it called it. It says authentication required. All right. So scroll up and you see right there on the right-hand side, keep it a little bit more, keep scrolling. Highlight over the get boards part on the top. Yep. And then add, you see the lock at the top? Very top, right there, authorize. All right, let's see, hit refresh real fast. And let's make sure your authorization is added. Okay. Authorize. Yep. Boom. Perfect. And now query all those boards again. Try out. Perfect. All right, cool. Now it returned that result. Okay.
Nice.
Right. So now we have that result. Now here's the thing. Now you see it says add boards. We want to do all those calls again. So add a board again. And we want to get all those curl commands for every single one of those. And I would even recommend, I mean, literally, when I set this up, all these, I do every single one. And so I do the query all, the edit, the put, the create, and then the delete. Right? That's your full CRUD. So even delete. So I would even delete that original board. You see how it has that board ID? I would pass in a thing and put board 1. Hit try out. Yep. Board 1 and hit 1 and execute. And now it just deleted that. Right? Response is null. Perfect. Right? That means it returned back nothing because you deleted it. Okay. So scroll down. And what we're going to do is, now you see how it says that edit? Actually, keep going down. We're going to do the put one now. So create a new one. The very last one. Yep. Hit try out. Execute. Yeah, try one out. Yep. Put user 1. Actually, that's authenticated, so it's actually not going to pass anything. Okay. So it really doesn't matter. All right, cool. And now scroll up to the edit now.
Edit is what? Patch?
The patch, yeah. Yeah, so it's patch, yeah. And then pass in 1. All right, cool. And now here's what you're going to do. Copy the whole entire page now. All of the instructions. The whole thing.
Even with delete?
Yep. Lottie-dottie everything. All right, hit copy.
And then,
right. And wherever you're at, right, if this is where you're using it.
Actually, so let me just say, let's go to dashboard.
So are you using HTML and then referencing different pages like that?
It's all, so what it is HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. And it's all, so it's all, I basically, so there's a thing called a one-page app where you can have it all in one page, and it's all sections. Like it's hiding all sections with the JavaScript. It's all okay.
So this is all just one giant HTML file for this?
No, because I have, so that's the dashboard. I have a forgot password. Index is going to be the login. Profile has its own page.
Bro, this is amazing. This is absolutely phenomenal, Austin. This is exactly what I mean by having different like files for you. You know what I mean? Files for your different pages. Yeah. Like that's what I was meaning, is having those. And here's what you could do is you could even iframe them into one dashboard. Does that make sense later?
Yeah. Yep.
You know, so I mean, dude, well done, Austin.
So I'm gonna copy this. You can see. Here is my dashboard.
So do you like GPT-4 right now versus Anthropic?
So I like Anthropic. It was just giving me so many problems inside of my AI team. And it was, and then I went to go try to use it on like Claude itself, and it was also giving me more problems. So I was like, and when I went to GPT-4, it didn't give me any problems. So I was like, okay.
Word up. Yeah, I'll make sure to add that next so we could all be able to switch back and forth. I know somebody yesterday said they got rate limited because it was only because they didn't add money to Anthropic. They only used the $10 one, but basically like some people, like if it's just like like I think some people got some credits to like ChatGPT, like the API. Some people have like 3,000 credits up to these things, which is absolutely insane. Like, dude. So I think that's kind of cool if we just have all of them up in there. So, and then you could just switch back and forth.
Yeah.
So I just like, for me, I like, yeah, either one. I just been Anthropic for the last few months. So
Anthropic is awesome. Don't get me wrong. It is great. It's a great AI, but they're still new.
yeah. For me, the coding is just completely different, you know?
Yeah. But yeah, I'm like it's crazy how good this like it with Xano. I love Xano.
Yeah. Okay, well, I mean, do you want to see if it's giving you errors still right now to just try to make this whole little page in my AI team, or?
I can try it. And so
Unless it just spit out that code, I don't know. We could check.
let's see.
I mean, what I would do is I would take that whole code where it says create new snippet, and I would literally say, create me a Kanban board for all of these logins, and then paste the entire all those API endpoint logins for you. And then connect to all these API endpoints. And no joke, that's how I've set up the entire assistance dashboard.
How would I connect it to my already used API for the user authentication?
Yeah, so you're actually authenticating every time you pass in that data. So you could even, okay, so if you want to make it where they have to like log in, or that has a login feature right on that, or it's like it kicks them out or something like that.
Yeah.
You could grab that swagger from that other one, the login. First, copy that other swagger that we have, or you could just copy this one. You see how you just logged in right here? You could make it where, so as long as they're on your site, basically what I do is I tell it to save the auth key to their user, like to their like login. So then when you're going back and forth to different pages, it authenticates based off each page. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So if you have the authentication, like just go back into the swagger of the other documentation right there. And then right here, if you have the get, so the get, if you see where it says get, this gets the record from the authentication key. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So whenever you authenticate, okay, so this is actually going to be really awesome for you to add. Okay, so go back into your Xano. We're getting really close. All right, go back into your Xano, and here's what we're going to do is go into the APIs for everything, authentication, and you see where it says get record, the authentication for get? Yep.
Yeah.
So this is here's how this works. You pass in your authentication key and it returns the record. Okay, so it says, you see where it says return as user down there on the second function?
No.
To the right, click on the return as user over there on that side.
Oh,
there you go. That works too. All right, so click on output. So here's what happens. You see where it says add-on? This is what's really cool. You could add on and you could click new add on and it passes other things that are connected. So click on boards. Boom. List of items. Nailed it. Board user ID, the bottom one. So this basically says this connects the user ID and it references and makes sure that they're connected, right? So now it has the board user ID is going to match the user ID table. Okay. So that connects it to the user. And now that says boards of user, create add-on. Nailed it. Look at you. Hit done. So now what's going to happen, you see this response right here. This is the response of the AI. It's going to return your ID, your name, your email, and all of the boards when you hit that authentication token. So now you don't even have to do the get all boards. You could just get the all boards by calling it to this one record.
Nice.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Look at you. So now think about this. Anytime you ever want to add more data, all you have to do is authenticate the user, and then you could have the add-ons add all the data in from here.
Nice.
So if you ever need to add more data into those users, that's where you need to go after you create more user tables, okay? So now you have publish. All right, so now go into your Swagger. Go to your swag. All right, and now
which one do we need?
We're going to call that get one. So hit refresh, because anytime we make an update in the other one, we want to refresh it. And the get try out, and you see where it says little lock up there at the top right? First, click that lock, add your key. It's probably one of those drop downs, most likely. And then hit authorize. Yep. And then now hit execute. And now watch. Boom. You see how it just authorized and it returned your ID of the boards and it returned all your information.
Nice.
Okay. So now if you hit that curl command, copy everything of the curl command, like from the even the response body, everything from the curl command down to the end of the response body. Right there. Yeah, sure. All the headers too. Hit copy and paste that into my AI team and say, here is the authentic. So I want to create me a Kanban board. Give it instructions. Create me a Kanban board. And here is the authentication to get all the users' boards. The user's authentication, and it returns all the boards, right? So you could say.
Create me a Kanban board. Here's the authentication to get all boards of the users.
Of the user. All right. And then now what you could say is paste. Yep. Or yep. And then you pasted that data. Now go back into the other Swagger. Yeah, the Swagger. And copy, just hit copy because you already have it copied and highlighted. Right. And now scroll all the way down to the bottom and say, here's all the other API endpoints to set it up. All right, so we are giving it like a significant amount of instructions. Okay, so like we're praying. All right, so hit enter.
This is going to be an expensive one.
Oh, I did want to let you guys know my AI team, the new pricing is out. I believe, Isaac, you're on the $97 plan and it charges on the 30th. So let's make sure you get that switched over to the new plan and you save a couple bucks.
Quite a few.
Thank you.
All right, cool. String to do. We got the string to do. We did it. We got the string to do, baby. Let's go.
Nice.
Oh, Austin, I'm so proud of you, bro. It referenced your database first time go. Come on. All right, create a new board. Let's see if this works. All right, I'm so excited. My IT baby. Data. Now go into your database, Austin. Go into your database. Dashboards, boards, come on, Yahtzee, baby! Let's go!
Yeah.
Let's go! All right, look, you see where it says boards.json? Check out that. Click on that data. Look at, you see how dynamic this is? Click on that. Look, it has done, to do, in progress. You see how it pasted in your whole JSON?
Yep.
You don't have to get fancy with it, man. All right, now pop back in here, add a card, add a task. Like, let's see how this works. Look at you. Dude, make things awesome. Yes.
What?
Right.
Where'd it go?
Where'd it go? We broke it. It broke everything.
Okay, let's go back.
Okay, hold on. Hit refresh. Just let's refresh the page and see what happened and see if it comes back and returns the data again. All right, so we have our to do. It changed something. Let's check what it did in the database. Hit refresh on the right here on that little, yeah. Oh, look, it changed the name of the, you see how when you added a card, it completely changed the name of it right there?
Yeah.
So now it's all about like building from here, okay? You could go back and forth and tell it to update this, make changes to this, update that where it doesn't do that, right? So I would,
what do we say?
okay, so you could say, okay, you could say when I add a card, currently, when I add a card, okay, yeah, say what you say. Let's see what you say. Just say it, right? Make a change
to the list itself.
Yeah, most of the time I just talk to it like it's English and I just tell it what I want it to do. Okay, so I would say when I say add a card, add a task to the list. Right? When I make a card, add a task to the list. Do not update the name. Fix that, homie. Right? Like sometimes you gotta smack it around a little bit. Yeah, there you go. Okay, but when I add a task to the list, but you got to tell it what to fix. All right, so do not update the board name. Right? All right, what happened? Did we lose our connection to our database? All right, did that just create like that second? Did that just
created 1246? Yeah.
All right, cool. But is it not referencing our other boards?
Right. Yeah, it's not referencing the other boards.
Okay, hit view code really fast. And let's see if there's anything that we notice strange in here. Scroll down. Not really noticing anything strange. Sometimes I will literally like just go back and retry to talk to it a little bit different, right? So go back into the call, like go back into the history. Because we had a connection, right? So we don't want to lose that connection. So go back to the previous one, which was right where we started. Nailed it. All right, so cool. We have our little update. All right, but let's try talking to it a little bit different, okay? So let's say when I add a card, make sure you add a to-do task. And because we're saving everything as a JSON, all right, we're going to say update the JSON, not the board name. Yeah. Simple. Okay. Perfect. That's it. That seems simple enough. Okay. Wish us luck. And now here's what's the thing. What I really like what you were saying, Austin, is you were actually saying that ChatGPT 4 sometimes does things better. And Anthropic sometimes does things better, right? Like, so it's one of those things where I believe that we need to have the ability to switch in here, which I will add, because you're right. Like, there is cost. And I believe soon there's going to be not GPT-4, but GPT-5. And then maybe Anthropic 6. You know what I mean? Like, come on, like everything's going to keep leapfrogging on this. Okay. So we have this. Let's see.
Okay, so it's only passing in string.
All right. Let's try adding a new board name, and let's see where we're at, and see if it passes in. And let's even add a new card and see what happens. Hey, well, how to get string then?
Exactly.
Hit card content. Just do it.
And it doesn't work.
Interesting. Okay, go back to Xano. Let's see if in our data, well, it pulled string. Okay, so hit refresh. And it has said string. Okay, it added the people's prompt. So we're missing something that is not connecting here. I wonder what it is. Let's see. Isaac, do you have any suggestions?
I have no clue.
Okay. All right. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna go. We're just trying to see maybe the AI is not connecting to our database correctly after the second call. So, which is, hey, it happens. Okay, you're only passing one board.
You could copy the code, which is what I've been doing, and then head over to ChatGPT and look for a coding custom GPT. Go in there, tell them, here's my code, and then put in that issue that you have right there that you're typing in right now, copy that and paste it in there, and it'll come back with a whole new fix for you. And then take that and then paste it into there, and it tends to, it's been working for me.
That's what's up. That is incredibly useful. That's awesome. Now, do you use the coding GPT because it has like a really good prompt behind it? Or do you use the coding GPT because like it's using GPT-4 and there's a cost savings there? What's the reasoning to go to there, over there?
I found that, well, for example, the custom GPT that I'm using a lot has a really high viewing or use. Like it tells you the number when you're looking at the custom GPTs, it tells you how popular it is. And the one that I use is called Expert Coding, and it's super, like it's probably their highest, most visited coding custom GPT. So I feel like whoever created it really knows their stuff because they had to use their own custom knowledge base to build it.
Yeah. Here, Austin, really fast before you send it in.
Yeah.
Austin, if you go back into the Swagger and go to the auth key, like where you're getting, just pass in this data, and this is the proper call, right? So if you're ever having a struggle, just pass in the instructions again. So copy these instructions and say you need to make sure you connect to this to get all the cards for the user. Okay, does that make sense? Because this is the instructions. You just got to tell it the instructions better, right? Here's the instructions. And then go back into the AI. There you go. You could close that out, and then click here and say, whenever you load and get all the users' boards, make sure you connect to this API. There you go. Because sometimes they act like it might get messed up, but this reinforces what you want it to do, and you're giving it all the data that it needs to make that proper change. Okay. Does that make sense with this one?
Yeah.
And then it should fix it from here. So I do like that updating, passing it over there and using that, like whatever it's trained on. That's awesome, man. Like I haven't actually tried
And
it.
it gives you the person's name, but it doesn't give you like their actual, some custom GPTs give you a actual link.
Huh.
If it's a company, if it's an agency, and this person, they didn't give but they seem to have their stuff together. I mean, I feel like their knowledge, however they built the custom GPT, they did a really good job. There's other ones there that I have 100,000 people plus being visited consistently.
Dang, that's awesome. All right, Austin, what we could do is also go back into the history and just go back to when it was working and then try to make those changes from there, right? Go to the very bottom one. All right, so this has all our boards, right? So we're here in success. So now we just kind of need to make it where when it updates. So now what we want to do, go into the Swagger. Let's actually pass in the edit one, right? The edit prompt. The patch, yeah. All right, so scroll down where it says the curl. So now here you could do that patch. Scroll all the way down. Actually, let's see, what's the response? That one returned a response of 404. So yeah, test it really fast again. Execute. And let's see, did it return a response? Code not found. Error code not found. I wonder what it's not updating. Try integer number 2. Try 2. Like scroll up a little bit and change that to board ID 2. And maybe we don't have a board ID 1. Okay, perfect. You see how it just updated that and it actually provided us a response body right there? Right, so copy everything, copy your curl command.
Go here.
Copy
the curl.
All right, all the way down to that right there. Yep, that's fine. Not too far. Just right down to the scroll up. Up a little bit more. Oh yeah, that's perfect. Yep, all that. And hit copy. And then now go back and okay, so this is where our like if we ever need to go back to this spot, we can, right? That's why we have that history. So sometimes instead of like going forward and it keeps doing it wrong, just go back to a work in progress. And I do that a lot, right? And then you're not arguing back and forth. So now what you're going to say is when I add card, make sure you update and edit the JSON anytime, and then call this API endpoint to add a card and add a task. Add a task to the to-do board or add a task to, oh, you need to make it where they can add a to-do, progress, and done. Are you going to make any other where they can make their own like boards or anything like that, or make their own like
lists
or whatever?
Eventually, yes.
Okay, so now what you could say is you could just say make it where they can add their own lists. And tasks to the board. And then say, call this API endpoint when you do. All right. This is interesting. So a lot of times the AI, I don't know, it's interesting. Sometimes you could notice level of intelligence based off of coding and how well it returns a response. So I'm wondering, I mean, like, we're just gonna have to keep like testing it. You know, I think that's where adding the GPT-4 back into this, and then making it where we could switch, and then hopefully they upgrade the AI over time. Before, I mean, we couldn't even code with AI, so this is what I
Oh,
think is
sweet.
all right. To do, add card progress, makes things awesome. Okay, that was a thing. Didn't we add something like that? A card before? All right, we're making progress. Woohoo! All right, cool. All right, so now we have your card, which is that empty one. So try adding a card. Let's hopefully it adds it right to this thing. I'm nervous. Just get it done, please. Here we go.
Yep.
It worked. All right, dude, heck yes. All right, so that is, now let's see if it saved in your database.
Just get it done, please.
Just get it done, please, is inside the done list. Let's go. Heck yes. All right, man, that is freaking awesome. All right, so now refresh the page over here to make sure that we're all connected and our database saves. And it does. Absolutely beautiful, man. Well done, Austin. Like, so from here on out, now it's just styling. Now it's you know how to add features. It's just going back and forth. Like, anytime that you're connected to an API endpoint and something's not working, it's not going to know necessarily what's not working. It's a lot easier to send in the proper instructions and say, hey, this is what I need you to do. This is what's not working. And here's reinforce what should be working. Okay. That a lot of times saves a lot of the work in this, because now you see there's no delete functionality. You might need to pass in the delete functionality in the API key so we could add delete again. Right. And now it could update and add the delete. And now we have all that updated. And that might be just to delete the boards. You know what I mean? So is what I believe that delete API endpoint is, not the edit one. The edit actually will probably do a lot of deleting. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because then every time it does, it will pass in a new record. The delete is just going to be for deleting the boards. So that's going to, if you want to use that, you'd copy it in. And then you would tell the AI, make it where I could delete boards, you know?
One thing I found helpful for me when I'm doing, like, where he's typing in the top little, what do you call that? Generate box, I guess?
Yeah, the generate input, yeah.
Okay. So the generate input, I found that whenever I do go to ChatGPT to grab a coding fix, and then I want to paste it into the generate box, I put on there, before I even start to paste, I put on there, please keep my current layout and keep the same colors. Just update with this fix. And then I paste in the coding, hit generate, let it do its thing, and it comes back the way it was, the way I have it all figured out and everything. Because I found that when I don't do that, and I paste in the coding fix, it'll totally change my entire thing. And then I have to go back to the history. I have to go to the original one that I had it laid out at the beginning. And but I just put on those simple little words. I even have it on my little post-it here on my desktop. I just copy it and paste it. So it's just become a little thing that I consistently do. And I found that it's very helpful for me, at least, to keep this, because sometimes we're so lost into, we've updated so many times that sometimes the code just kind of gets lost, and then next thing you know, your entire layout and everything is all gone, and you're like, oh, what the heck happened? So I just found that those simple few words at the beginning will help relieve some of the headaches. At least for me.
Yeah, that's amazing. Austin just deleted the record. Well done. Awesome. So what you just did, what you just set up is something called CRUD, right? You created the record. You could create a board. Then you read, which means you read all the data to be able to get it from the proper user. Okay. Then then create, read, update. You're making changes. You're updating the record. That's edit. And then the last one is delete. Every 99%, 90% of the software on the internet is CRUD. If you look at Facebook, Facebook is a giant CRUD app. I create a post. You guys could read the post. If I misspell something, which I do 90% of the time, I could update the post, and then I could delete the post if it's really bad and doesn't make sense, right? So those are all the things that's all Facebook is, right? So when you guys are building software, read, update, and delete. Look how fast this is working, Austin. This is beautiful, man. Like, that's really clean. And that's saving data to your user ID. Like, well done. That's cool.
That's awesome. I'm
Heck
so
yeah,
glad
man.
that this is working.
Dude, that's awesome. That's crazy that you created. How many API endpoints did you just connect in less than an hour?
Like, I don't know, too many.
I was like 4 or 5, like, dang, man. So I'm impressed, right? And so, I mean, dude, Asana is basically what you just created. Now it's just making it stylized, making it look beautiful, making, whatever it is. So, yeah, great job. So, yeah. Isaac, do you have any questions over the weekend or over the last few days that you've been building on?
No, not that I can think of. Well, actually, okay, so I'm like kind of getting frustrated because I want to start making some kind of income. So I just keep thinking, I mean, you taught us how to sell websites. I guess I've been trying to do the 3 C's, like comment, or no, what is it? Is it post, comment, and then I forget what the other one was.
Yeah, message.
Or whatever it was. Message. There we go.
Yeah.
P or whatever, however acronym you had it. So message. I've been trying to do that, but I feel like it's like I wish there was like a faster way of other than ads. Is there anything you can think of on top of the head? Like, I guess Fiverr, but then I'm like, hi, lowballing my services.
Yeah, no, I'm really glad you're asking that. Like, that's fantastic. Okay, so here's what I do, right? So this is just strictly what I've been doing. Like, this is what's crazy is, Isaac, how long have you and I known each other?
Oh, dude, we go back to when we were in the cannabis industry together. So yeah.
Right? All right. And so do you know what's crazy? In the cannabis industry, and how long, like X amount, how long ago was that? How many years?
Dude, I forgot. Like
A long time
7,
ago.
8 years.
7, 8 years ago.
ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
7, 8 years ago, I was still using PCM. All right. So the PCM method,
Yeah.
all right, is something called post comment message. All right. And here's the thing is post comment message. And here's what it is I actually do this dang near daily. All right. But if you get the book, all right, there's one of my favorite books. It's .com Secrets by Russell Brunson. Okay. I don't have an affiliate link, but I highly recommend getting it. Okay. So inside there, he talks about how to write a post, a proper post. All right. Like if you're going to do it, learn how to do it the crazy way, like the real way, the deep way. And then all of a sudden, if you ever do anything less than that, it's like, dude, you can whip out a 5-minute post and then that's going to follow that template. Well, in there, he talks about how to write a story, how to create like something where it's like, this is where I started. I was struggling with this. And all of a sudden, bam, this is the solution that I found. Well, if I had to go through this struggle, and this struggle, and then this is what happened. And then all of a sudden you write this post that it's like, oh man, you almost have to have people go through your experiences in the message to be able to come out with your outcome that you want them to have. Right. So it's like a lot of times, like for coding, I started off literally 7, 8 years ago. No joke. I was on welfare. I remember when they told me, I literally walked into the welfare office and like, cause we have a little yearly update or whatever, right? And I was so excited. I was like, man, like guys, like I'm making more money. Like I'm doing it. You know what I mean? Like I'm making more money. And you know what they're like, well, we're going to have to evaluate your case again because you are making more money. And I was like, and then all of a sudden it went from me being positive to a complete negative thing, because all of a sudden I'm not getting $800 for my family of 5 in food stamps anymore. For the first time in my life, they said I make too much money for welfare. That was not only, it was a good feeling, but it was a scary feeling, because it's like, no, you guys don't understand. I was making good money. It doesn't mean I'm making good money now. I still need the $800 today. What do you mean I'm not getting money this week? Oh my God. Like, I should have shut my mouth. But all of a sudden I realized the government doesn't want you to be rich. The government wants you to be poor. Because then they'll just keep giving you money. And so it's one of those things where you have to welfare. You have to tell them you actually make less money than they make. So it's so interesting, because I had to now take the gap of, I have to not trust the government as my provider, and I have to rely on a higher power, right? I actually believe in God, right? I believe in him, that holy cow, he saves my life through. He'll bring clients, he'll bring people in, he'll bring customers, he'll do this. And the government is not my provider, right? And so all of a sudden I started, you know what, I'm going to believe in this, and I'm going to start putting myself out there and getting clients. And I'm going to start putting myself out there and making like sales. And I'm going to start putting myself out there, and I'm going to post the things that I'm doing on a daily basis. You see how Austin just connected 4 API endpoints in less than an hour. Why isn't Austin telling everybody in the world about that? That right there is so phenomenal, because most people don't know what an API endpoint is. They don't know how to connect it. And Austin just connected and saved into a database. He authenticated a user and saved into a database. Isaac, if you screenshot everyone right now, all of us talking, and you post on this, I just learned how to connect 4 API endpoints and save data to a database in my AI coaching class. That right there is a post. People are going to comment on that and be like, whoa, what are you talking about? And then you're going to send them a message and be like, bro, I'm just learning software development. If you have a software in mind or know anybody that needs a software development built, message me. Post, comment, message. And I do that. And my oldest daughter blocked me on Facebook. I post 6 to 7 times a day. I'm not offended, because if not, she wouldn't even be able to if I don't post 6 to 7 times a day at the beginning. I'm not saying for the rest of my life I have to do this, but you have to, at first, if you're going to run ads come because you have a post that has high success on organic traffic first. Isaac, look at me in the face. Do not spend $1 on Facebook ads until you've made $1,000 plus through a sales funnel on your website. Do you understand? Otherwise, give me that money and I'll burn it just like Facebook is gonna. Dude, I've only done it because I've put money dollars in it and I haven't got the return. Until you prove out the sales funnel process, that means you have to have a checkout page first, Isaac. Do you have a checkout page set up right this very second? Well, then I'm not even confused why you're not making money. I'm literally not even confused. You have no way for me to give you money right now, or anybody else in the world. Is that correct?
Right.
Just that, you have to have base. It's like one of those things. The law of cause and effect. Cause, I did this, and therefore the effect, people could give me money. My AI team, check out this, right? Last night on my last night around yesterday. So let's see, I'll just scroll back. I updated my AI team's pricing. Okay. I updated my AI team's pricing, and yesterday we have a yearly thing now. It's $67 for a month, and it's $497 for a whole year. I updated my pricing. Within 5 minutes of updating my pricing, guess what? I got a $500 sell, Isaac. Within 5 minutes, because I told somebody about it. If you look at my Facebook, it's on my post. New pricing. Down from this, now it's this. And I updated it. I set it up. It's not even connected where it automatically updates the user right now. I have to go into my database and update it myself. I'm not even that far. I just updated my pricing to accept the money. If I could accept the money, I just told someone about it. I sent them the link. I posted about it. They commented about it, and I sent them the link in the messages. That's it. Don't overcomplicate it. Don't run a Facebook ad. Do the manual version first, and like build your social media, right? Like social media is social. If you don't have 5, as crazy as it sounds, right? Like I'm going to say this, my friends should be your friends. Okay. If you go to Gallant Dill, or if you go to Grant Cardone, or if you go to all of these, all of their friends that are commenting on their posts should be your friends. Right? Because guess what? Aren't my people interested in what you're doing? Well, why don't they have a friend request? Build your well before you're thirsty.
Right.
Okay. In the future, you're going to want to sell to $1 million clients, multi-million-dollar clients. All of those clients, you're going to want to sell it. Well, I only add those guys to my social media now. I have 5,000 friends. That's the max of, unfortunately, you can have on Facebook. I constantly delete about 100 a week, and then I add 100 new people that have Lambos. Because guess what? One day they're going to buy my software, and I want them to be able to afford it. So I'm not thirsty right now, but in the future I'm going to be thirsty. And so I want to build my well, and then when I post, they're going to comment, and I'm going to message them with my link to buy. But you have to have the link to buy first. So get the link to buy set up right now. Like today, before you go to sleep, right? Like find a way to somebody give you a few $100s, a few $1,000, a deal that they can't come in. Hey, I'm building custom software. It's $3,000, but the first person only. And now you have your first client. If you're worried about it, like just build it. And it's like you'll never get the sale unless you actually have it, right? Like I can't give you the money if you don't have the checkout process. We'll build the checkout process. Okay. And people are going to be able to buy. Because here's what you could do is you could say, hey, look, I just built this checkout process, and that's proof. Do cool things and then tell people about it. That's it. It's super simple. Do cool things that people are really interested in, like software development, and tell people about it. It's so incredibly simple. If you need to, Isaac, and you're worried about work, create a Facebook just for that. Nothing else. If you have to, use your middle name, whatever you freaking got to do, right? Don't let somebody else hold you back from doing this. As crazy it is, because what happens is, I promise you, it's crazy is the moment, if we ever got hit by a bus, they would put a job ad by 2 weeks later, 1 week later. You know what I mean? It's the same thing. It's like there's something called mind your own business. Okay. No matter what, even it's crazy is you have to mind Isaac's business. Their business is their business. Everybody, it's crazy is your spouse's business is their business. Jeff, have to mind my own business. Literally, I have to be able to make sure I'm bringing in income. I have to be able to support my family. I have to mind my own business to make sure that, like, if anything happens to anybody else in the world, Jeff's solid at least. Put your mask on first before you help anybody else. Well, that's the same thing as through this process. I mean, like, and there's also saying help enough people get what they want. Eventually, you're going to get what you want. Right. So if you're wanting to build a software through this and you're wanting to do this, build somebody else's software. And I promise you, you're going to learn from them, from you building. Just tell people, I'm learning to build software for myself. Does anybody else want to be a client? You see the difference? Like super, I'm doing it for myself because I want to do it. And here's the reason why. This. And then you write in the Russell Brunson style backstory. You guys see how a few seconds ago, I didn't just tell you guys about software. I told you how I learned and started software development and I got off welfare. I told you the backstory of where it all started. That part is incredibly needed. Just hey, I'm willing to help you. Isaac, you need to tell people why you're getting into software development. I'm getting into software development because I see this future. Does anybody else see that future? Does anybody else wish that they had something like that? Am I the only one that's like this? Who else wants something like this? Surely I can't be the only one.
Yes.
Do I have one single friend that wants software development that you could just sell logins for the rest of your life? Do you see how all of a sudden it's like, wait, I do want what he wants. I don't want this job. Fuck this job. You know what I mean? And then all of a sudden they're willing to give you money because they believe in that vision that you have also. Did you notice how not one time did I say we're using AI coding? Did I use Xano? Did I use any of those words? I didn't talk about APIs not once. I talked about a vision and a dream that I see. You have to sell that sometimes too. Sell what you see. You know what I'm confused by? Why do you guys keep showing up to this class? What do you see in the end that you keep showing up to this class for? Write a post about that. Post about that. I keep showing up to this class, screenshot it. I keep showing up to the class for this reason. In the future, I see that this is possible and these guys are doing something about it. There has to be a reason why you're doing this over anything else in your life right now. Whatever that desire is, you need to talk about it. Sometimes the hardest times that you'll ever go through in your life are really the story that you need to get people to even listen to you. They need that. Right? I love it. Good job, Austin. Right? They need that, like, that incentive. Like, I need something to believe in, right? People are silently begging to be led. Right? I'm going to leave you guys with this, okay? There's a YouTube video, all right? And this is one of my favorite videos, right? How to be a leader. Crazy dancing guy, okay? All right, we could even watch this 2-minute video together, okay? All right, so this is How to Be a Leader by the Crazy Dancing Guy, okay?
If you've learned a lot about leadership and making a movement, then let's watch a movement happen start to finish in under 3 minutes and dissect some lessons. First, of course, a leader needs the guts to stand alone and look ridiculous. But what he's doing is so simple, it's almost instructional. This is key. You must be easy to follow. Now here comes the first follower with a crucial role. He publicly shows everyone else how to follow. Notice how the leader embraces him as an equal. So it's not about the leader anymore, it's about them, plural. Notice how he's calling to his friends to join in. So it takes guts to be a first follower. You stand out and you brave ridicule yourself. Being a first follower is an underappreciated form of leadership. The first follower transforms a lone nut into a leader. If the leader is the flint, the first follower is the spark that really makes the fire. Now here's the second follower. This is a turning point. It's proof the first has done well. Now it's not a lone nut and it's not two nuts. 3 is a crowd and a crowd is news. A movement must be public. Make sure outsiders see more than just the leader. Everyone needs to see the followers because new followers emulate followers, not the leader. Now here come 2 more people, then 3 more immediately. Now we've got momentum. This is the tipping point and now we have a movement. As more people jump in, it's no longer risky. If they were on the fence before, there's no reason not to join in now. They won't stand out, they won't be ridiculed, and they will be part of the in crowd if they hurry. And over the next minute, you'll see the rest who prefer to stay part of the crowd, because eventually they'd be ridiculed for not joining. And ladies and gentlemen, that is how a movement is made. So let's recap what we've learned. If you are a version of the shirtless dancing guy, all alone, remember the importance of nurturing your first few followers as equals, making everything clearly about the movement, not you. Be public, be easy to follow. But the biggest lesson here, did you catch it? Leadership is overglorified. Yes, it started with the shirtless guy, and he'll get all the credit, but you saw what really happened. It was the first follower that transformed a lone nut into a leader. There's no movement without the first follower. See, we're told that we all need to be leaders, but that would be really ineffective. The best way to make a movement, if you really care, is to courageously follow and show others how to follow. When you find a lone nut doing something great, have the guts to be the first person to stand up and join in.
That's awesome.
All right. So,
That's cool.
like I said, shout out what you guys are doing, right? You guys are literally building software with AI. And I believe, no joke, as crazy as it is, I believe building software like this is something different. You saw what Austin just did, bro. That's phenomenal that he connected it, corrected it, got it up and dating, and I see him working on it already live even further. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
all from a single less than an hour call on this. So, I mean, there is something here. I believe we do have something different than anything else prior. And so you got this, Isaac. I believe in you, man.
Nice.
I'm proud of
Thanks,
you.
man.
Keep showing up.
Thank you.
All right. I love you guys. Any other questions before we jump off?
All right.
Word. Bye, guys. Talk soon.